Hi, this is Dr. James Hutcherson. I'll be your instructor for this course for this summer. This is Bio 168 A8OL1, which is an online course for the summer. So I hope you're ready to strap in and get ready to go, because this is a pretty intense, labor intensive, and the time is quite short. So I'm going to talk a bit about that as I go through these different documents. I'm going to start by looking at the syllabus for you. So let me share that document with you. All right, so this is the syllabus. You'll see it at the top of your Moodle page. And I won't read through every bit of this. You'll want to do this on your own as you have time, but I just want to point out some specific parts. This is ANP1, and in this course we cover body organization, homeostasis, cytology, which is cell biology, histology, which is tissues, the integumentary system, skeletal system, muscular system, and then the nervous system and special senses. All right, a lot of information at the top you'll want to read over. This syllabus comes with some special codes that you can use with your camera, these CAPTCHA types of images, and they will take you to some of these important places. Services for students with disabilities, I want to point that out in case you have the need for certain accommodations. Continual academic support, tutoring services throughout the semester. Do take advantage of this. I will tell you about an online tutoring that's free here at some point. And then several student support services, as you can see here, from distance learning, veteran services, Title IX, student outreach services, campus security, inclement weather policy, which really won't have any effect on you, hopefully. I do want to point out that the final withdrawal date for this class to get just a W will be March 4th, 2026. As you know, this class begins May 18th. Some of the other classes begin a little bit later, but this one does. There are a couple holidays that doesn't really affect us. Again, last day to drop with a withdrawal, a W, is June 10th. Otherwise, you'll have to receive the grade that you get at the time. And then our term ends July 10th, so kind of early in the summer. Grading scale, we're on a 10-point scale, like all of your classes. And then here's the breakdown for your activities. As you can see, lecture exams count the most. It's 50%. Chapter assessments using Mastering, that's a new program we're using here, at 5%. Discussion forums, 5%. Comprehensive final exam, 10%. I'll talk to you more about discussion forums when I show you the Moodle site. And then for the laboratory, basically laboratory assessments you use with Carolina Science Lab Kit. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. And then midterm and final lab exams count 15%. Online attendance. So attendance in this course is going to be equal to you participating in something or completing an assignment within a week, and then you'll get full attendance for that week. At the top for a course, as you go down through it in the Moodle course, you'll see there's an enrollment verification quiz. You have to do this before you're able to go into the rest of the semester's modules. Okay, students whose absences exceed 20% of the contact hours for the course will be dropped, actually. So missing 2 weeks, I'll have to put in an administrative withdrawal. This is before or after the W date. Okay, and this just says that again, that if you withdraw, or if I have to drop you after the withdrawal date, then I have to give you basically a WF, which actually does count as a failing grade. Okay, then, and this matches up with Moodle pretty regularly, there are 16 modules. Each is composed of 3 to 4 days, so you'll have 2 modules at least per week. I'll discuss that in a minute. So module 1 goes from May 18th to the 21st, so that's Thursday due date. And then your next module will be Monday. If there's ever an exam, I add an additional day to the previous module. So like your exam 1 will be Tuesday, May 26th. Module 3 will be from May 26th to the 28th, due on a Thursday. Next module will be due on a Monday. And here's one of those cases where you will have 2 modules due, or 2 chapters within that time period. So keep in mind that time period is only 3 to 4 days. It's not a full week. So there'll be some weeks where you will actually have 3 chapters that we cover. Again, you'll see exam 2 here is got an additional day after the Monday due date of the previous assignments. That'll be a Tuesday. Next module, 6.2 to 6.4 due on Thursday. Next module will be due on a Monday. And again, in that module, you'll see there's 2 chapters. Okay, everything else is pretty regular from that point on. At midterm, there will be a midterm lab exam, so that's a little bit different. And again, I add an extra day for that. And then moving on down, everything looks pretty similar, except once you get to June 30th to July the 2nd, again, there's 2 chapters in that period. So for that entire week, there will actually be 3 chapters. So if you can ever get ahead, I would very much encourage it. Again, the class moves fast anyway, and especially those weeks when you're going to have 3 chapters. All right. The textbook required for this course is Fundamentals of Anatomy and Physiology with Mastering. I do have a link in the course, the Moodle page I'll show you in a minute, where you can get the information to get that book. And also I require the Carolina Biological Kit by 168 A8OL1 kit, very specific to this course. Again, there's a link in our course where you can get the voucher for that and order it. Okay, let's look at the course itself. All right, this is what the top of the course looks like. Lots of information again at the top. It's got the census date. The census date, May 21st, is the date at which you have to have done the enrollment quiz by, or you'll get dropped from the course. And then after you begin, the last withdrawal date will be, actually I've got to change that. I see that says July 10th. That should be, I'll come back to that. So I will go in and change that. It is in the syllabus, correct, by the way. Okay, here's some information about me. There's not a phone that you can contact me at, but you can send me an email or you can send me a message through the Moodle course. So either way, I will get it. Meeting time asynchronous, as is most online classes. If you do want to meet with me one-on-one, we can do it through the program we have on Moodle called Collaborate, and you just have to schedule a day and time with me. Okay, I do send out announcements. I will twice a week with this course to remind you about due dates, and if anything else changes, those should come to your email. You're watching this video now, so you've actually already gone through a lot of this, where you see Dr. Hutch's introduction. Of course, that's where you just went to get into this part. There's the syllabus, so you probably already looked at that if you didn't just look at mine. There's the course materials again. This is a link to the bookstore. It says course materials. Okay, and then you'll want to get linked with Mastering, which is a part of the textbook, through Pearson Company. So some really good stuff in there. Not only do I have some assignments for you, but there are lots of teaching applications in there. There's flashcards, some practice quizzes, some neat videos to look at. So do take advantage of that. The mastering assignments you'll see scattered throughout each module that will be required for you to do. Okay, here's more information about the Carolina Science Labs. So you want to look at those. And then some general helpful resources. The lab guide will help you in studying for the midterm and final lab exams. Free online tutoring through Upswing. It is live, so take advantage of that. You can do it right from your home. And then whenever I have any need for live sessions, or if you want to meet with me office hours, you'll go into this link here. That's the one I call Collaborate. Here's the enrollment verification quiz you'll need to take, and you have to do that in order to get into the following modules. You see this little lock here? That means you can't do those modules until you've done the enrollment quiz. Okay, let's look at some of the modules. So here's the first module. As you see, May 18th to May 21st. I always have some objectives here for you. I would suggest writing the answers down to those learning objectives to help you to study for the lecture exams. And then I have the module instructions at the top of each module. Basically, you want to read the textbook, you want to look at the lecture PowerPoints, view any animations and videos. I actually have for each of those modules a video up where I go over the information in the chapter. I use slightly PowerPoints, but still it's the same information. Like you'll participate in discussion forum, you'll complete a mastering assignment, and you'll complete a laboratory assignment. So let's look at some of the resources down here within the module. Okay, there's the PowerPoints, and here's my live presentation that you can look at. And then there's other video animations you might want to look at as you have time, and then the graded assignments. As you can see, this first assignment, you have to introduce yourself in a forum. Then you'll do the mastering assignments. When you go into that, you will have to register for that when you go in initially at the top of the page. And then you'll just do those quick quizzes that are in there. They'll take about 30 minutes or less. And then you'll do a discussion forum. Let's look at a discussion forum quickly. Okay, it tells you up here, read the post and respond appropriately. You'll then need to respond to one other person. Note, you will not be able to see other posts or respond to others for 15 to 30 minutes after your initial post. Your initial post should be thorough and contain at least 150 words, and it should tell you what your word count is when you're doing it. You should also provide a full reference or link. Do not just say the textbook, and your reply to another student should be at least 50 words and contain additional new information. Do not just say you agree or you like their post. This is where students lose a lot of their points. So the three places people lose points is not meeting the word count, not giving a full reference or link. You can give me a link to the direct information. And in your response, you have to give me additional information to what that other student has said in their post. Okay, let's go back. Okay, and then we get to the laboratory. So you would have already purchased your lab kit and you would have linked to their website and registered. Then you go into the links that I have here for each lab each week. You see something slightly different than I do. Something I do want to point out is, and unfortunately I can't really show you on here, but when you go in, it'll tell you what to do in your lab using the kit resources you have. And then on the side of the module in Carolina Science, you'll see something that says like the lab notebook. This is what you'll want to go into. It'll be a Word document, and you'll write your answers, and within that document, you'll insert your pictures. Often you'll have to insert pictures of things you're working with, so you'll need your camera. And after that, you'll save it, and then you'll need to upload it into my folder on Moodle. Now, sometimes students think they're done once they've done it at the Carolina Science site, but I can see if you upload there, but I cannot mark your paper up and grade appropriately. So you've got to save your document. Again, make sure you're using the lab notebook in Carolina Science site, and you upload in my folder. Okay, let's move on. So here's Module 2, Chapter 3. Again, you see the dates at which they're due. Again, the regular learning outcomes. the module instructions, and then you move into the next chapter. Again, you look at PowerPoints, look at my presentation, extra video animations, and then your graded assignments. The mastering assignments again, the discussion forum, and then again, the laboratory. And then here's your first exam, Tuesday, May 26th. It is timed, like your first one's 100 questions, 90 minutes. You really need to know your stuff when you do this, because it can move quickly. And then let me just point out a couple of things. Sometimes the labs I use are actually not Carolina Science. If Carolina Science does not have a lab for that particular system. Let's look at this one. So this is another one of those weeks when you have a couple of modules, like module 4A, 4B. Notice the due dates are the same for both of those. Okay, that one has a Carolina Science. That one does too. Okay, let me find one that does not. Okay, here's an example of one. So for Chapter 7 Laboratory, I've actually uploaded a document that came from another lab manual, and you'll go into that document. You can either print it out and write your answers on it and then re-upload it, like take a picture, or if you know how to do it and have the ability, you can go in and actually write on that PDF and then save it and then upload it into my folder. Okay, again, from that point on, everything is pretty much the same. I want to point out when you get to the midterm and final lab exams, they do have to be manually graded, so keep that in mind. And I'll usually grade them within 1 or 2 days after you take it. But in the meantime, the grade may show up as a 0 for those. So don't be upset by it. Just know I've got to go in and grade those manually. Okay, and then finally, as you get through the whole summer semester, and by the way, it's just 8 weeks. Usually it's 16 weeks. You get to the final exams, and the final exam does cover everything in the semester. The final lab exam only covers everything since the midterm lab exam. So keep that in mind. I do have study guides for you for the midterm and final lab exams. Okay. Do make sure that you go in and you look at all the information that's in the Moodle. Make sure you register for the things you're supposed to. I do want to point out that a normal semester is 16 weeks. This is considered a basically 6 contact hour per week course in 16 weeks. So know that because this is 8 weeks, you'll spend at least 12 hours each week. Depends on the student, right? And often it's said that you should spend more than the actual contact hours of class time outside of class. So if this were a face-to-face, you'd be doing those 6 hours per module. Then you would go home and you would study, or do the extra activities. All right, having said that, make sure you start out strong. Don't give up. You'll do just fine. If you ever have any concerns, please email me as soon as possible, and I usually get back as quick as I can, which usually means within a day. I do have materials graded pretty quickly as well. All right, I wish you much success, and as I said, I hope you have a good experience and you do well.